Disclaimer: my analysis is not based on entirety or everyone. However, these are valid experiences and occurrences and experiences with many indigents. Watch and learn. We are all learning, and over time, probably in the future, things might change for the better. But this is based on the current situation. Reasons why South Africa is not appropriate for relocation and resettling in 2023. South Africa definitely has beautiful scenery for tourism, but it is not a country that you should immigrate to on a permanent basis unless you are a large scale investor who have established companies and you want to branch in South Africa. Firstly, the indigenes have not fully grasped the concept of immigration, so you would always be welcomed with statements from the indigenes such as, "When are you going back home?" When you are coming to settle into a new country, you want to feel welcome, you want to feel like you have a safe space, you want to feel like it has become your new home. You would actually feel the hostility even on social media platforms where indigenes keep saying they don't want foreigners, that the foreigners are competing for their resources and their jobs. Almost every economic situation will be blamed on your presence. There are pages that keep promoting the agenda that immigrants should go home. In quotes, it is an okay country to visit, beautiful scenery as indicated earlier, and there are lovely places to sightsee and experience. I would have actually said South Africa is good for study, but there is no use for you to come study here when you would probably not get registered with the regulatory board of your field of study if you do not have permanent residence. And the criteria, the criteria to get a permanent resident is so boxed and frustrating that you would hardly get it except for divine intervention. And let's tell ourselves the truth. There are some things that should actually come spontaneously and not having to stress as a result of the panic inducing circumstances, because the criteria will be almost impossible to meet and they would usually say you do not qualify. So what is the use of going to school in a country where as an immigrant you cannot register with the regulatory board, like for example the Health Professions Council, without a permanent residence that has such circumstances attached to it? It would absolutely make no sense, because that is the proof to show that you have studied internationally. So you find international students who have come to study in South Africa, but they cannot register. There's nothing to show that they have actually studied here. So it's more, apart from their certificate anyway, so it is more or less like you wasted your money for that international edge that you thought you were getting. You will also find it almost so difficult to find an establishment for you to get your practical training as an international student, which is also a waste of time and a waste of money for all the school fees that you pay to get that international experience, and then not to have that certification by the regulatory board of this country or that practical training within the shores of this country. Yes, as a student, you are allowed to work 20 hours per week, but getting something decent to do is almost impossible unless your parents can afford to buy you a car and you do like e-hailing services or delivery services. And that brings me to the other point, that when you study here and you feel you want to call this place your home, you will likely be stranded because you will not probably get a job. So you will have to start doing menial jobs with a university degree, which is not your plan, and doing menial jobs is definitely not the reason why your parents paid so much international fees in tuition and upkeep. Your parents and sponsors made those sacrifices to make you stand tall in society, utilizing your skills. Then the issue of permit, it will be so difficult to get a standard permit. It will take so long to process that you will become an illegal immigrant, and that will also be used against you. You also don't want to spoil your chances of relocating to other advanced countries to get more experience by becoming illegal in a country. True that some people want to go back to their birth country to pursue a life, but some other people actually want to try new societies. It has been a long age thing that people have been migrating from one country to the other, but it is very tough in South Africa, and this is actually really pushed by the indigenous people. With the elections coming up, a campaign strategy of even some of the politicians is telling, the indigenes how foreigners in the country will not receive fair opportunities and will likely face deportation. You see, that is not the kind of place you want to live long term. Long term. It is not advisable for you to invest so much in paying fees or coming here to think you want to come and use your skills to get a job. The conditions will make it almost impossible for you to achieve your aims. You would end up seeing that people who took other options to countries that are foreigner friendly have settled and integrated. Even colleagues in your home country who went through their own normal processes will be so ahead of you, you might even end up being dependent on friends and family to survive. Don't try it for settling. Don't try it for settling at all. But it is a fantastic country to visit, to take pictures, sightsee, and experience some of the cultures. But it is a no for permanent basis. Unless, like I said, you are coming with investment and you want to come and branch in South Africa. But if your plan is that you are a qualified person and you want to integrate here and start a life, you are on a long thing. Cheers.